Now, Roger is a professional DJ, and late one night he was called out of the blue by a man who asked him if he could do the sound and lighting for an awards ceremony the following day. Well, the event organiser told him that the call was so last minute because the DJ who was meant to be doing the event previously had lost a family member and was now unable to do the job. Roger said, yeah, I can help you out. He quoted £1,000 for the gig. He says it was a big success on the night, but since then he hasn't been paid a penny.
I've had lots and lots of promises. I wasn't paid on the night. Oh, you'll be paid at 12 o'clock the following day. It's just been a hiccup. I wasn't paid then. Contacted them on the Monday because I thought it might take the weekend for something to clear. Now we're at the end of November, 20 days later, and I still haven't been paid. Well, I've spoken to some of the other suppliers, and none of them have been paid so far.
Right. It would appear that Roger may not be the only contractor chasing payment, so of course I obviously wanted to go off and track the man down, have a word with him and ask why Roger and others had not received their money. And that's where the fun and games began. You see, the company concerned is a company called Proud Horizons UK, and it seems to be run by a man by the name of Jake Turner-Coombs. Now, if you go on the internet and you look Jake Turner-Coombs up, you will see that there have been other instances in the past where various promises he has made, various events he has organised, have not turned out quite the way everybody was expecting them to turn out. For example, when he was involved in running Luton Pride and told everybody that he'd managed to secure Adele and Sam Smith to perform on the stage, only for people to find that in fact Sam Smith and Adele had not been contacted at all. I've left Jake Turner-Coombs numerous messages asking that he returns my call. He has not returned my call at all. Instead, all I received was a very peculiar email, which I will read to you now. It was signed off by a different name of somebody at Proud Horizons UK, although we do not expect that person to be anybody other than Jake Turner-Coombs. Here's the email. I'd like to start this email off saying Proud Horizons UK is not happy with the BBC airing our business without any meeting or email to Proud Horizons UK to ask if we would be happy in take part or letting our names to be airing on the radio. I'm reading this as it's written, by the way. We have a number of issues with our sponsorship. This is why Roger have not been paid on time. The business is working on the issues to get Roger paid by the end of December. Proud Horizons UK would like to book a meeting with Roger to give him the update informant on what is going on this end and our plan to make sure he is paid as soon as possible. We would like to make sure JVS Show have all the right information before going on the radio. Jake Turner-Coombs is not our Chief Executive Officer. Jake was our event officer for the awards on the night. We would like to ask if you are plan on going on the radio with any of the informant I have give you today. Without a warning letter from Proud Horizons UK, we may have to look at taking this high. Proud Horizons UK need to ask the BBC to stop email or phone call to anyone linked to Proud Horizons UK, as we have an email from one of our community groups who we work on a project. In red capital letters, so stop email or phone call to everyone. Look forward to hearing from you soon. Kind regards. I'm sure you'll agree, one of the most peculiar responses I think we've ever had on this programme. Well, Roger's back on the JVS Show now. Good morning to you, Roger.
Good morning, Jonathan.
It'd be fair to say we suspect that writing may not be Jake Turner-Coombs' forte, based on some of the responses that I know you have received from him. The kinds of messages that are put on his Facebook page on a regular basis, and indeed the email that I have received from him. Now, the last time we spoke, Roger, you'd received an email not from Jake Turner-Coombs, because apparently the email you had received suggested that Jake Turner-Coombs had now been, well, he'd been sacked by Proud Horizons UK. The letter also seemed to suggest that you would be receiving your money by when?
I was due I'm supposed to get a cheque by Friday this week.
Right. Are you holding your breath?
Let's say I'm turning a shade of...
A shade of purple.
A shade of purple.
I would suggest you don't hold your breath, Roger, because I think it's highly unlikely, based on the various bits of information that are coming into the programme, that you'll be paid. I'd love to be proved wrong, by the way. I would love nothing more.
Yeah.
In fact, if suddenly the money turns up and the cheque clears, I would love nothing more than to eat my words on the radio. I suspect,
me too,
though,
yes, and I would come on and do exactly the same.
Yes, I suspect, though, I will not be eating my words.
No, neither of us.
Jake Turner-Coombs is an interesting chap. He's a very interesting chap indeed. I suspect, looking into all of the various different cases that have come to this programme, I suspect that Mr. Turner-Coombs is a bit of a fantasist. I suspect because it appears that what really seems to interest him is being the centre of attention in an awards ceremony such as this. I mean, for example, we watched the awards night itself, which is on YouTube, and Jake Turner-Coombs seemed to be the one collecting most of the awards on behalf of other companies that hadn't turned up on the night. Can I just also suggest that the awards themselves seemed to be completely meaningless?
Well, I believe that some of the companies that didn't turn up had their heads up a little bit beforehand.
I see.
And didn't turn up because they thought it was a sham.
Well, I don't know what is behind this reason, but it does seem very, very peculiar behaviour, and seems to be fairly characteristic with previous experiences that people have had with Jake Turner-Coombs. Now, Shelley was the makeup artist on the night. She's back on the JVS show as well. Good morning to you, Shelley.
Morning.
Good morning. Now, Shelley, you decided that you were going to go on the Judge Rinder show to get your money back.
Yeah.
Obviously, for contractual reasons, you are not able to disclose any other information.
No.
But it was as a result of Jake Turner-Coombs making repeated promises and then not paying you the money. Now, what's rather interesting is Roger was also advised by Jake Turner-Coombs that he should try the Judge Rinder show. I have it on good authority that the Judge Rinder show, the television production company, they pay the award in the case, in the instance that the case falls in favour of the defendant. So, in other words, if Roger was to take him to court for the money and Judge Rinder was to say, yes, you owe the money, then the Judge Rinder television production company would pay the bill. And that's obviously why he was suggesting it to you, Roger, because he was hoping that Judge Rinder's television company would pay you the money that you were owed so he didn't have to. I think it's very unlikely that television production company would entertain getting involved with the same person on a number of different cases, however. Now, Shelley, I know that you've been doing a little further digging around. I don't want any names, please, because I know you think you may well have identified somebody else who is involved in Proud Horizons UK. As I say, no other names, but just fill us in on what you've found out.
Well, I was speaking to the lad today and last night called Matt, who was the young lad.
I don't want any names, please.
Oh, sorry. Was the young lad that was asked to do the certificates and stuff. And he's been in contact with another lad that apparently works with Jake on Proud Horizon.
Oh, I see. So, sorry, the Matt you mentioned is not this other guy. This was someone else who's owed money.
No. He's the one that's owed money with us. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been chatting to him, and he was saying about this other lad is linked with a charity down in Brighton, but then he is also linked, apparently, according to Jake, on one of his profiles, has been in a relationship with Jake, so that might explain a lot.
And do we believe that this man has any involvement in Proud Horizons UK?
I don't know. He just seems to dismiss all the claims that we're making, and everything, backing up Jake completely.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, this is just further further confusion. I'm pleased to say that Peter Conway joins us on the JVS show now. Now, Peter manages a group. They are the gospel group Incognito, and joins us now. Hello to you, Peter.
Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning. Gospel Singers Incognito.
That's correct.
And Incognito, they featured, did they not, on a certain television programme, so people will be aware of them?
They did indeed. They were semi-finalists on Britain's Got Talent a number of years ago.
I understand they performed at the awards ceremony, and they also have not received their payment.
They did indeed. In fact, I'm looking at an email that I received from the events manager. Now, this is quite interesting with what you said earlier. The email came from a person called Shawnee Louise, events manager, and refers to Jake Coombs as being the chief executive, not the events manager. And they invited the choir to perform back in August. The email was on the 22nd of August for an event that was going to be taking place originally in September. And that date subsequently changed.
Right. And they did indeed, on the night, they did indeed turn up and perform.
They did. A choir of 7 male and female singers and a band of 3 musicians performed on that evening, and apparently to great success. I wasn't there on the evening.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, really good, really good.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, Peter, based on, and it's all on YouTube if you want to go and watch it. It's a most unusual awards ceremony. The awards themselves are absolutely meaningless. I hate to be so rude, but they really are. I mean, at one point, he gives away an award to a supermarket for being a supermarket. I'm not joking, am I? I mean, seriously,
No.
he gives an award to a supermarket for being a supermarket.
Yeah.
Quite what on earth that has to do with LGBT rights or diversity, well, God alone knows. But he gives an award to a supermarket for being a supermarket. But I'm sure the Gospel Singers Incognito were very, very good, and I'm sure they were a great part. How much are they owed?
They're owed £3,500.
Wow.
Yes.
And what have you had back in terms of, I presume as their manager, you've been sending the invoice in and trying to get payment. What are you getting as a response?
I mean, I've had different emails back, and obviously, like Roger, received the final email with the letter, which was signed by a person called Alex, and explaining that we too would receive a cheque on the 22nd of December, but we too looked at the spelling of the letter and suspected that it might have come from Jake Turner Coombs.
Yeah.
And I am not holding my breath for getting a cheque on Friday.
I think that's probably very wise. Can I just give you a little bit of information, though, because you're quite right. That email is signed off Alex. And late last night, I received a message on Facebook from someone called Alex.
Wow.
Can I just read you what he has to say? And I'm due to give this Alex a call a little later on, and I'm not going to mention his surname because I don't actually believe the email you're referring to is from him at all. He says, I'm unsure if you're still covering the Proud Horizons situation, but I would like to give you some background. My name is Alex, and 2 years ago I co-founded a community group called Proud Horizons along with Jake Turner Coombs. The original idea of the group was to create a diversity and equality festival to promote everybody, whoever they are. We had a meeting with a certain council about the event, however we were turned down due to our inexperience. 3 months later, I pulled out of Proud Horizons due to getting engaged to a long-term partner and moving out of the area. While this was going on, Jake was feeding the information. For example, he started to suggest that he was receiving funding from the government and even the EU. On further investigation into these outrageous claims, we found that they were clearly false. I also discovered that he had been reported by a couple of Luton organisations to the police. The outcome of the investigations I do not know. He's recently been trying to secure my support again by trying to get me involved with the Proud Horizons event, and as of today has offered me the role of events manager with an £18,000 a year salary. On hearing your radio broadcast with my fiancée, we were both incredibly angry and upset, especially when my name was mentioned. Not that I have anything to hide, as I don't, but he has the gall to involve me in something that he has so far excluded me from for so long. So it would appear that that email that was signed by Alex was not from Alex at all. It was from Jake Turner-Coombs. And Alex is not very happy about it. And I can understand why.
Well, yeah.
I genuinely, I've never dealt with anybody quite like this. We have tried to make contact with Jake Turner-Coombs' mother. We've tried to have a conversation with her because I'd like to just see if there are other things that we should be aware of in all of this. Despite attempts to contact her, we have been unable to. I've never met anybody quite like it.
No.
He just seems to revel in making promises with absolutely no foundation whatsoever, in bringing people into his organisation and, frankly, wasting their time and wasting their efforts, and then not paying what he owes. I don't even know if he has any money to pay anity.
No, the funny thing is, Jonathan, with this email and the promise of being paid on Friday, says that he'll send a cheque out to my address. He hasn't even got my address. He hasn't even asked for my address. So I don't know how I'm supposed to receive this cheque and payment.
Peter, I mean,
Yes.
the long and short of it is you are owed a lot of money. Well, your clients are owed an awful lot of money.
Absolutely. And, sitting here and listening to this conversation, I mean, the most important thing for me is to stop this guy fooling anybody else in future.
Definitely.
Clearly, we've all got caught up with this scam, but we've got to make sure that he doesn't do it again. And he seems, and I was unaware of the history until you told me about the Luton Carnival, etc., but he clearly has a history of these scams.
Yeah.
And what I'm prepared to do, I'm going to pursue him through the small claims court, even knowing that we probably will not get the money at the end of the day. But I think that I want to go as public as possible, and your programme is brilliant at being able to do this, but I want to go as public as possible to stop this man doing this again to other innocent bystanders.
Definitely.
There are organisations that we have heard from since investigating Jake Turner-Coombs who have said that they no longer have anything to do with him. For example, the University of Bedfordshire, this is where the event was held, this particular award ceremony, they have not received any of the money that they are owed either.
Yeah.
There are also other local authorities that do not wish to have anything further to do with him whatsoever. And I would certainly advise anybody listening to this programme, if you are contacted by Jake Turner-Coombs offering you work, suggesting he's organising some kind of event whatsoever, just bear in mind what has happened to the likes of Roger, Peter's clients, Shelley, the list goes on. There are a number of people who are owed money by him, and just be aware that that could happen to you too. Peter, can you please keep us posted of how this court case goes?
I will indeed.
We will obviously, and I've made this very clear, and Jake Turner-Coombs, I'm fairly sure that he will be listening to this programme, or certainly will get to hear about this programme. Again, I put the offer out to you, Jake, if you want to pick up the phone and explain what on earth is going on here, what on earth you think you're playing at, you can give me a call at any time on 03459 455 555. And if it's attention you want, you can have as much attention on my programme as you need to explain yourself and to explain why you seem to have wasted an awful lot of people's time and effort, and why you owe an awful lot of people money and you have paid them absolutely diddly squat. Roger, Peter and Shelley, thank you so much. We'll keep in contact and we'll speak again.
Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you very much, and a Merry Christmas if I don't speak to you beforehand.
Likewise.